Welcome, everybody, to Taking Control, the ADHD podcast. I'm Pete Wright. This here is Nikki Kinzer.
You sound sound like you're under the water, like you're under the sea.
I
yeah,
do?
It was like, this is taking control.
I totally don't mean to.
Okay,
Is
good.
it getting any better?
Yeah.
It's just, maybe it was a little Skype problem.
It just sounded a little like you were under the sea with SpongeBob.
And this is where Nikki's head is right now. A little too much SpongeBob.
A little too much SpongeBob.
Last week you shared a very personal story about what's going on in your house and transition to middle school and how challenging that can be. And so this week we've got a little bit of a to be continued, yes?
Yes. Something that I've learned, and it's going to be funny when I tell you where I learned this because it's pretty hilarious. But yeah, when you have these transitions, obviously sometimes they come up with, or they provide you with these very difficult, hard conversations with your children, right?
Yeah. And
as calm as you want to be and level-headed, they can still end up in arguments, with angry parents and angry children. And so, yes, what I'm about to share is just something that I learned in the last year, and I hope that it will shed some light for some people. And I hope that it can make maybe some of the conversations a little less loud and more calm. That's been the end result in my family. So
because you've had a kind of a run of louder conversations when dealing with difficult conversations.
With these school issues. But, and this is not to take place of an expert, of a psychologist. I'm just sharing with you as a parent, something that rung true with me that's made a difference. And actually the 3 sentences that I'm going to talk about really have made a big difference and literally have changed a lot of the ways that I talk to a lot of important people in my life, not just my son, but also other family members and relationships. Are you ready to hear what they are? 3 magic sentences.
I'm so ready.
And you may have heard them before, but okay. I hear you. I see you. And what you say matters.
See, I know you're not even really talking to me, but that warms my heart just a little bit.
Yes, right? Yeah. It gives me chills saying it.
Right?
I mean, seriously, that's how powerful this is.
It is really powerful.
I mean, who doesn't want to be heard? Who doesn't want to be seen? And who doesn't want to know that what they're saying matters?
Yeah.
And for children, I mean, this is what they crave.
Yeah.
This is what they need. This is what they're looking for. And it's so easy for us to not hear them, not see them, and not that what they're saying doesn't matter, but to not show that it does.
Well, and especially when they get into these phases, these ages that hit where they find it so natural to distance themselves.
Yes.
And it's almost when they're missing that craving that sort of special attention, when they're missing it, it's easy for them to leave emotionally. And it is so easy as a parent to just say, okay, fine, maybe you need your space, when that really is the last thing they need.
Right, exactly.
They need to hear this. They need to hear that what they say matters.
Absolutely. So you want to know where I learned it?
I do.
It cracks me up to even say this. Okay, so I love this show called Parenthood. Okay. It is in the last season, so you can get it on Netflix if any of you have Netflix, but this is a fantastic family show. And basically it came, the first time I heard this, it came from one of the couples on the show who were going through couples counseling. They were like going through marriage counseling. And the marriage counselor was basically telling the husband that you need to make sure that she knows that you hear her and you see her. And so through the rest of the season, they would have a conversation or they'd start to get in an argument. And he would always chime in at the end, I hear you and I see you.
Oh.
And, immediately, just like when you first heard the sentences, it diffused the conversation. So this became sort of a inside joke between my husband and I, because we would say something to each other and then he'd be like, I hear you and I see you. And I'm like, okay. But anyway, without it being a joke, it really is good stuff. And then the next time I heard it, which was within the last year, was on Oprah,
Are
of
you
course.
serious?
Yes, and she says it almost exactly this way on her serious.
It's a serious,
It's a very
serious.
serious. Gosh, that's a tongue twister. Radio show. She'll go in between the shows and she'll have these little like little 2-minute kind of words of wisdom. And this was one of the things that she was saying, is that all humans basically have this in common. We all want to be connected. We all want to know that we've been heard. And she says this almost exactly the same way. I hear you, I see you, and what you say matters. And it's so powerful, and it has changed so much of the way that I deal with my children as a mother, and just, again, like I said, other aspects. But I think that you have to really, when you say this or when you act this way, you have to really mean it. Like, right? You can't just kind of say, yeah, I hear you, and you're kind of like,
that up.
Yeah, you're rolling your eyes. I mean, you can't do that, right? So you have to really understand what these mean. And so for me, my experience has been what I strive for, which is not something that happens all the time, but this is what I'm striving for. That when my children are talking to me, that I listen to them, and I really listen to them, which means I stop what I'm doing and I'm paying attention to them. I'm looking at them in their eyes, eye level. I'm getting down on their level, whatever it is, but I'm stopping what I'm doing and putting the computer down, the phone down, and I'm looking at them. That's showing them that you see them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They get that immediately. When they're talking to me, then I will often repeat what they're saying. I affirm whatever it is that they're feeling. So if they're excited about something, I will actually reflect back to them, wow, I can really see how excited you are. I can really hear in your voice that you're really hurt and you're really upset about this.
Yeah.
And so when you reflect back to them, they know that not only do you see them, but you're hearing what they're saying. Right?
Yeah.
And then there's this whole thing about how do they know that what they say matters? Well, I think when you show the effort that you hear them and you see them, that's sort of a given, but it certainly doesn't, it certainly can help when you also say, especially in an argument, that I understand you're mad. I understand you're frustrated, and that matters to me.
How do you demonstrate that it matters?
I can give you an example of my son being mad at something. And he said to me, "You're not listening to me." He actually said that. Yeah. He's like, "You're not listening." And I actually repeated back to him, and I said, "No, you know what? I am listening to you. I hear that you're mad. I hear that you're frustrated. I can see that this is really bothering you. And it does matter to me. I want to help you. What do we need to do? What can I do for you right now?"
Right.
And so I think it's just sort of like putting it in there that, hey, this does matter to me. I am listening to you.
Well, and it teaches a different skill too, right? And that skill is you can be mad, but you also you have the opportunity to be in touch with your feelings enough to tell me how to take care of you in a way that is meaningful to you.
Right.
Do you know, like we get in these conversations, and this is not just with children, but with peers and adults. When somebody is dealing with let's say grief or sadness, they're upset. Our instinct, the instinct of many people is to, oh well, I'm going to come up and give them a hug. But maybe they don't need a hug. Maybe they just need you to hear it. Maybe the hug is your way of saying, I'm uncomfortable with what you're dealing with, and I'm going to express my discomfort by hugging you, and that's going to make me feel better.
Right.
When really listening means that you are actively pursuing ways that will make that other person feel better about whatever they're going through. And I think with kids, that is to be very clear. I think that's what you're, at least that's what I'm reading from you here, is this idea of sitting with your son and saying, let's figure this out together. What is going to make this right for you? And it may not be, you may not get what you want, but we may, working together, be able to make it right.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think it's okay too when you come to a point where you're upset, as a parent, and letting them know, hey, you know what? I'm also mad. Yeah. I'm also upset by this. Yeah. This really bothers me too. You're not alone.
And
I get it.
Here's what I need out of that. Here's what I need from you. It's not like these kids are not, they're smart people. They're smart little people, much smarter than I think we give them credit for often. They can listen too.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And so, we talked a little bit about temperament of your child last week, and I think it goes the same with this. By no means am I saying that this is going to solve all of your problems or that you're never going to have an argument again. It's just really all I can do is share with you that when I have practiced this, I have physically seen the walls come down. I've seen it in his face and his words, and it just makes the conversation go in such a better way.
Yeah.
And so, I think it's something to remember. I think it's something to try. And again, if it helps somebody, then, that's what I'm trying to do.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Well, it's very valuable stuff. And I think it's really good just in a way to hear how you reframe conversations that can be uncomfortable. And I think more important than any of this is this stuff works with adults too.
It does.
Don't forget. Yeah. Like this is the way you talk to people is it matters. And the way you help others deal with their grief or struggles or challenges, business partners, spouses, spousal partner relationships. This is how we exist together.
Yeah.
This is a human need.
Core human need.
Yeah.
And when you think about, the first place I heard it was on parenthood, and it was about marriage counseling. So absolutely, if you can talk to your spouse and let them know you hear them, whether you agree with it or not.
Yeah.
That's not even the point. It doesn't mean you have to agree with everything that's being said, or that, all of a sudden now your child, gets to do whatever they want. That's not what it's about at all. It's just about being understood and connecting as human beings.
Powerful. Thank you once again so much for sharing these this week and last week. It's to open your home and share your example is that's a powerful example for all of us.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And
take a deep breath.
Yeah, take a deep breath. Thank you to everyone for listening. Thanks for joining and sharing comments and your own thoughts and stories in our various profiles on the website, on Facebook. We sure appreciate hearing from you all. Thank you so much for your time and attention and for joining us. If you want to find out more about the show, head out to TakeControlADHD.com. Subscribe to the show for free in iTunes or your podcatcher of choice. And we appreciate all the comments and kind reviews that you leave us. Thanks, everybody. On behalf of Nikki Kinzer, I'm Pete Wright, and we'll catch you next week on Taking Control, the ADHD podcast.